With your brain, you can do anything. But what often happens is you've convinced yourself of the exact and complete opposite. You've convinced yourself that you can, you shouldn't, it's not going to work out, so you just don't do it. But in fact, with your brain, you can do anything. So when I say with my brain, you say I can do anything. With my brain, I can do anything. Okay, that was okay. That was okay. I know it's the end of the conference and you're maybe raring to go out to dinner, but I think, in fact, I know and believe that you can do better than that. So I'm going to give you another shot to do it with a little more energy and enthusiasm, because I know you wouldn't let your students get away with that, right? So when I say with my brain, you say I can do anything with a little bit more belief and enthusiasm behind it. With my brain, I can do anything. With my brain, I can do anything. Yes, awesome. That inner dialogue is the fundamental foundation of everything you do and everything you don't do. So how is it holding you back in your life? You've heard thousands and thousands and thousands of negative thoughts, but the ones you repeat to yourself are the ones that resonate with you. They stay there because something in them made sense. The thing that you wrote down, we want to reframe that. What does that look like? We want to take it, the negative thing you wrote down, and turn it into something positive. So for instance, if you said, these students aren't listening to me, why aren't these students ever listening to me? You can reframe that saying, what do these students need in order to better listen? What skills do I need to possess to get their attention? What do I need to incorporate to keep them engaged? Because here's what happens. Your brain will answer anything you tell it. So if you're saying, why aren't these students listening in the negative aspect, your brain is going to answer in all the negative ways that validate what you just asked it. So it's going to say, well, they're not listening because you're a horrible instructor, because you don't know what you're talking about, because you don't have the experience, and because you're a horrible parent. Your brain will validate it with things that have absolutely nothing to do with it. It says, well, you're a horrible parent, your kids don't even listen to you, why are your students going to listen to you? So if you ask it something negative, it's going to respond and answer and validate that. And then you're going to say, yeah, see, told ya, the students aren't listening. Well, your brain just validated everything that you said. So yes, they're not listening. But if you say, what do I need to incorporate to get them to listen? What skills can I get in order to get them more engaged? Your brain will answer that too. Your brain will say, well, you can ask someone for help. You can go online and look up different skills or different classes or watch videos. It will list all the ways that will help you get your students more engaged. Who in here has ever had a really great thought, idea, or decision and not done anything with it? Right? Most people have. You say, oh my God, I got this really great idea, or oh, I should so do that, and you never do it. So I call this 3 seconds to act. On your mark, get set, go. Ready, set, go. Think of it as a runner on the start of the line, about to run a race, right? They're like, on your mark, get set, go. And they start running. What doesn't happen is, on your mark, I don't have the experience that you have. Why am I even here? You're so much better than me. not even be here. Because if that is what happened, they would still be on the starting line and the race would be over. So some of you are on the starting line. In fact, some of you are on the sideline watching. So what's it going to take for you to not only start the race, but to act on that idea, thought, or decision? What needs to take place for you to say, now is the time for me to do it? Michael said, I didn't even know what to draw. I didn't even start. So sometimes when we communicate with other people, we aren't really sure what to say or how to articulate something, especially if that something is a feeling. So we talk all the way around it and hope and pray and wish that you know exactly what I'm talking about. External communication begins before you say a single word. It begins with your internal dialogue. So tell me, how many people are in, you can just shout out the number, how many people are in your organization? 400. 250. What else? Whoa, okay. One more.
7,000.
$440,000. 2.75 million. 35.2 million, 77 million. What would your organization do with that much more money a year? Because that is how much you lose due to poor communication. $11,000 per employee per year. So by not helping people get clear on the inner dialogue and how it's affecting their external conversation, you will continue to lose money. Negative attitudes never go away on their own. Because negative attitudes directly come from negative thoughts, and the people who have negative attitudes don't recognize they come from negative thoughts, so they're not going to go away. In fact, what happens is you have negative Nancy going over to toxic Tim saying, I don't even know why we're doing this. Do you remember what happened last time? It blew up in our face. And then you have Tim going over to Sally saying, who do we think we are? We're not as big as that organization over there, that school over there. They're doing it well. There's no way we can do it like them. We're not them. Sally's like, yeah. So it spreads like wildfires. A year and a half. A year and a half is all it took for car insurance to drop all 5 people in my family from car insurance. I had 3 wrecks and 3 tickets in a year and a half. And the car insurance said we are dropping all 5 drivers from your car insurance. And my dad said, what if we just take her off? And they said, done. And so I did not drive because I did not have car insurance for 2 years, which to a 17-year-old seems like a lifetime. And again, don't worry, my driving record looks a lot better now. But when I first started, I was sucky, right? And then I sucked a little less, and then was just bad, and got a little less bad to get good in order to get great. But oftentimes as adults, if we're trying something new or risking something, doing something we've never done before, we expect perfection out of the gate. And if it's not going to be perfect, not going to do it. We talk ourselves out of it. We say, I can't do that. Oh, or we try it once and we go, that did not work out the way I planned. I'm not doing that again. What would your life look like if you stopped driving after the first time because you weren't good, because you were bad, what would your life look like? Maybe you wouldn't have the career you have. Maybe you would have moved to a city that had public transportation. Maybe you wouldn't be married to the person you're married to because you met them at work or had the kids that you have. What would life look like? It would look entirely different. So you gave yourself permission to try new things and to not be good and to figure them out when you were younger. And now all those negative thoughts come into play and you say, I'm just not going to do it because I won't be perfect at it. You've got to give yourself permission to not be perfect, because that's where the magic happens, is when you figure it out along the way. You can't have the negative thoughts going on in your head and feel confident at the same time, because one will outweigh the other, and it will always be the negative thoughts, because that is your habit. That's your blueprint right now. So we've got to change your habit and your blueprint. We've got to disrupt the pattern. When you go into those trigger situations where you feel insecure, we've got to disrupt the pattern. It works in situations when you're feeling insecure, when you want more confidence, right before you go in, and then you have to go in. Don't do that and then go, I can't do this, I don't know why I'm doing this, because then all those negative thoughts are just going to overwhelm you. You got to hold in that pose and then go into the situation. You forget. So you have to constantly and consistently remind yourself that with your brain, you can do anything. That when you change that brain games that we're playing in our head, when we change those around, we can actually take positive action on that to create change. What is that one action you're going to take today and continue to take to create massive change in your life?